welcome everyone to another episode of the Get Up and Go Show. My name is Anne Marie Morales of The Art of Healing. And today I introduce to you a woman who was very instrumental in my early stages of awakening. Her name is Margaret Phillips, and she is a clairvoyant, a psychic medium, but I was drawn to her because she saw angels. And it was something I was comfortable at the time of talking to a psychic medium who doesn't just talk about ghosts and such, but also angels, which was really, really important to me at that point in my life. So let us not wait any longer. And I now introduce to you my friend, Margaret Phillips. So welcome, Margaret, to the Get Up and Go Show.
Thank you. It's good to be here. I'm so excited to be part of your journey and part of your early journey with your new show.
Oh, thanks so much. Well, you know, you have been a very dear, not only personal friend, but really a spiritual go-to person for a very, very long time in my journey. And you helped me tremendously. But before we get into that, I want you to just introduce yourself to us and tell us who you are, what you do, etc.
Okay. So I'm Margaret Phillips. I am a wearer of many hats, but I am a psychic medium, probably more often than not. And I am also a Reiki and shamanic energy healer. I work with the angels every day. They, we talk and we do things together. We help heal people.
Yeah.
I do life coaching as well. All my life coaching is intuitive based as well as experience and based on courses I've taken to help people life coach. I am certified to be a life coach. And, whether it be life coaching or healing, when you get something from me, you get like multi-layers because I can't just do one thing. It all kind of just overlaps and overruns and works well and meshes well together.
Oh, that's terrific. When you said that you work with the angels, I got pops in my ears. So I know they're here because they just gave me a little tap in the head. So that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. Yeah, you came into my life when I was just starting to kind of explore myself spiritually. And the way that I started, not many of my viewers know this, but the way that I started to was I was a ghost hunter, basically, because I got to meet a group of people that I could talk to about supernatural things that were happening in my life, and they wouldn't look at me like I needed to be institutionalized. So I was with a ghost group, and we were at a convention. What was that? The convention?
Jersey Paranormal, the New Jersey Paranormal.
Jersey Paranormal.
Yeah.
That's right. And we had a booth there, and then one of my teammates and I went over to you, and you gave me a reading that pretty much changed my life. It really, really did, because it was just so profound. And I want to just thank you publicly for doing what you do, because it touched me so greatly.
Well, that's, you're welcome, but, I'm just the messenger, and I am honored to be the messenger. I love it when people say, that reading changed my life. I've been blessed that more often than not, I hear that after I give people readings.
Wonderful.
So I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be because I'm helping people change their lives for the better.
Mm-hmm. So talk to us a little bit more about who you are without all those official hats on.
Yeah.
Because that's another place.
I'm a mom of two wonderful girls who are both teenagers, so that can be trying and fun all at the same time. I like I said, I am a medium. I not only do I communicate with the angels, but I talk to the deceased all the time, quite frequently. Sometimes my mother and I have issues, and I have to tell her I don't want to talk to her temporarily, but that's all good.
Now, is your mother,
She's passed. She passed a few
okay.
years ago. And if she really has something to say, and I have decided to tune her out for whatever reason, if I'm trying to, because sometimes she tries to come to me while I'm working, I'm like, I'm busy, come back later.
It's
And
so annoying.
if it's really important,
Oh my God.
she'll go to my youngest daughter, who both of my
Also,
daughters are gifted, but my youngest one is extremely gifted. And for a little bit of time, I couldn't quite get the message from my mom because I had a personal block there, and I just was not healed enough to talk to her. So she kept appearing to my daughter, and I'm like, would you just leave her alone?
wow.
But
What a life. I'm like, so moms nag you
yes, and you got it
regardless
from the
of
other side.
whether they're physical or non-physical.
Yep.
That's
But anyway,
hilarious.
um,
That's so,
but yeah, so and I frequently, I work with people who, like when we met, who do the ghost hunting thing, because it's a mixed blessing. Sometimes you go on these ghost hunting trips and you come back with stuff attached to you, and you need, somebody to get that off of you if you don't know how, or sometimes they're just stuck and they may not want to be removed by the person who they attached from.
yeah.
So I do that too, and I'm just like, my whole thing is I'm one for lifelong learning. I believe that everybody should be learning. As long as they're breathing, they should be learning something. If you're in a vegetative state, then I guess you kind of get a little bit of a pass, but even then, I'm sure you can communicate spiritually because I've seen it happen. Um, in my thought, if you're breathing, you should be learning. And I'm always constantly learning new things. I've always have at least 2 books I'm reading at one time. um, and I'm always, trying to help show my girls different things, help them develop their gifts, and help other people develop their gifts. Because not only do I feel like I'm here to be, a specific messenger when I do readings or when I do life coaching, but I also feel I'm here to be a messenger in that I help people kind of develop where they need to go and develop things and share different things that I've been told. If I may, recently I did a reading for a young lady who was pregnant. And for people who may be watching this months, years later, we are currently in this pandemic area. And I was informed that her children, she's actually pregnant with twins, are part of what is to be called the Children of the Light. And I wrote a blog post about that. And you guys can go to Angels Always Around Us at blogspot.com if you want to read about that. But basically, it's a little different than there are some biblical references of Children of the Light. And I was told that these children are completely different, that underestimates their gifts. Sometimes it depends on the psychic. Sometimes children in the womb can be hard to talk to. These little twins were amazing, and they just opened up and they showed me things, and I got to see certain things that they saw, and I got to see them looking down on us, and it was just from the spirit world, and it was one of the most amazing revelations, and I'm so blessed to have that, which is part of the reason why I made sure I wrote it up in a blog. And I was told that these children that are born during this pandemic and for the 2 years after it ends will be these children of light. They will be coming forth, and they will come through, and they will be our world changers. They will be the ones who will bring back the hope that we are in the process of losing. They are the ones who are going to hold us all together. There are miracle babies, literally, who are going to come forth. So that was a pretty awesome thing, and I'm like covered in goosebumps because I love talking about them.
That's absolutely incredible. I mean, I have not very, no, sight, no clairvoyance. I mean, every now and then I'll see an orb, but it's usually through the camera. It's not something, so it's like I don't know. I don't know how I would be. I guess the reason why I don't see as well is because maybe I'm still afraid of it. I mean, do you think that anybody could be clairvoyant?
Yeah, I do. I think we all are born with psychic gifts. It's just a matter of whether we nourish them or
Right,
squash them.
right.
And you can squash them until you're 62 and then pick them up, or
Yeah.
72. It's just a matter of once you start nurturing them, you just keep building on them.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I have like clairsentience
Hmm.
and claircognizance. I
Hmm.
believe that, when I know something, I know something.
Yeah,
And, I can tap into someone's energy and go, and say,
yeah,
nah. And I've learned to really trust that. But these are skills that I think have been developed and awakened by me elevating my vibration too,
absolutely. And
because,
and the more spiritual work you do, the more clear you get. Um, and it always cracks me up because the universe likes this, and I do this little interesting game where I'll say, well, I'm not really a pet psychic, but this is what I see. And then in the next 30 days I'll have like 6 or 8 people come to me with pet questions,
there you
or
go.
or I'll say, this is what I see psychically, but I'm not a doctor, so I can't give you medical advice. And then I'll have all these medical questions thrown at me, because the universe does not like it when I try to tell people I can't do things.
No, it
they,
doesn't. And
it always comes back to me and says, yes, you can do it now. You've got this.
well,
And
that's
that's what I try to work with people with, is trying, when they have their minds closed like that, trying to help them open it back up and realize that, we set our own limitations so often in our minds, and we decide we can't do something.
Yep.
And, we prevent blessings like there's no tomorrow, but when we
Oh,
decide we can't do
yes.
anything.
That is so beautiful, so important. And I want to use this as perfect segue into another segment of what I want you to talk to us about, is that concept of a vision board.
Sure. Um,
You had talked to me about it about over a year ago, because I remember before I had created this space of mine in my attic, I had a little board in one of my wardrobes, but it had things from the past in it, things that would, in my thought process then, they would make me, well, they were things that I was proud of from the past,
right.
but they weren't allowing me to envision the future. So I'll want to show my viewers a little my current vision board.
Awesome. I want to see it too.
Okay, so I just wanted to show to all of you my version of a vision board. And I haven't updated this in a little while, but I have a few things on here. This is, oh, sorry. This is the Eye of God. And I made this when I was a camp art director one summer when I was laid off. I'm not really much for cutting out pictures, but I am an artist, so I drew. And I have me with my beloved in front of my fireplace, and me with my beloved walking our dogs, hand in hand down a tree-lined street. And I have here a prayer that actually Margaret transcribed for me for my light language. It's very beautiful. And I keep that up there and I say it quite often. And then over here I have some intentions. I have my peace, because I definitely want peace, my art, and my healing. And that right now is my vision board.
So that's my vision board, huh?
Cool. Yeah. So with vision boards, the important thing is, like you said, your previous one had a lot of past stuff in it.
Right.
When we keep vision boards, when we keep our past on them, we're holding and tying ourselves to the past.
Mm-hmm.
So vision boards need to be something that you want in the future. If you have a vision board and you've created something and you've been able to manifest it, then you need to take that down and put a new goal up. Because you don't want to, like I said, you don't want to tie to your past, and you don't want an empty spot either, because
Right.
the universe wants to bless us abundantly. And if we have empty spots in our vision board, then, you know, if we can dream it, we can achieve it. We just have to get out of our own heads long enough and have the faith that the universe will bless us as long as we're doing what we're supposed to do. You know, if you go and sit on your porch and say, okay, here's my bucket, fill it with money, it's not going to work. But if you put in the work to make that bucket filled, then the universe will more than meet you halfway to make sure your bucket is filled and you have all you need. The other thing with vision boards is, you know, I watched The Secret years ago and it changed my life. And I was very big on, how am I going to have enough money to pay the electric bill? How am I going to have enough money for this bill or that medical expense or this, that, and the other thing? I watched The Secret, and that's when I changed things. I started doing things. And, you know, sometimes, unfortunately, with manifesting, people think it should just come like that, and it does not. It's just like learning how to walk. It's tiny little baby steps. You have to crawl before you walk before you run. So, you know, these people who say, oh, I can manifest $1 million. Well, you probably have that potential, but if you just started manifesting yesterday, you're not manifesting $1 million tomorrow. And that's important for people to realize, I think, because I think there's so many people who talk about manifesting and who talk about making all this money. And I'm not saying that they haven't. Some have not. But, you know, a lot of times those steps in between are left out, especially if they're making money off of how they manifest things. You know, but I went from, like I said, I watched The Secret. I went from worrying about how am I going to pay these bills to my mantra for years was, I have enough for all my needs and wants. And, you know, somehow by saying that to myself like a million times, I stopped worrying about the money. And before I knew it, we were living in a nicer apartment and I had money in the bank. And I was like, holy crap, how'd that happen? Like, I just looked back one day a couple years later and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And you know, when you start working with mantras too, it helps you in vision boards. You know what you want. You see your vision board and you want to put it somewhere where you're going to see it every day. You know what you want. You start working on it. And, you know, you forget about the details. You just instinctively and intuitively let the universe fill in those blanks. And you know what, when we do that, life works so much better because, you know, the human side of us screws everything up.
That pesky ego. That pesky ego. Well, that's absolutely wonderful. I need to update my vision board.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. That's all been there for over a year. I need to update it, you know.
But, you know, and one of the good things about your vision board too is, you know, it's very simplistic, and I like that. You know, my vision boards change, but 9 times out of 10, me and the girls, when we make vision boards, it's literally on a piece of construction paper, and it's either things written out, or Ashley's an artist, so she'll draw things out, and, you know, I copy and paste things off of Pinterest, you know.
Oh, fantastic.
And then, you know, I also write things down and I do different things. And, you know, I've seen different things come to light from those vision boards. So I know they work. You know, they're not a bunch of bull crap like everybody thinks they are. You know, there are certain people who are just like, it's just a piece of paper. How can that change? But again, when you see something in your life every single day, and this is what I want, I'm not going to worry about how I'm going to attain it. I'm going to put the work in and let the universe fill in the blanks. And, you know, when the universe fills in the blanks, we are more than abundantly blessed.
Yeah,
and
that's wonderful.
Yes.
That's really, really wonderful. So this is titled the Get Up and Go Show because I want to not only introduce the world to my teachers, but also ask the human, how do you find joy in these times? You mentioned it already. We are currently in 2020 and it is, the world is in lockdown. We're in the middle of a pandemic, if you will, and it's not easy. This morning I had I struggled quite a bit this morning, thinking about, you know, how I hold my space for all those people who are suffering, you know, but how do you get up and go? What is your main
well, I
motivation?
do a couple things. One, I don't watch a lot of the news.
There you go.
I haven't been a news watcher literally since before my children were born, because I found before they were born that every time I watched the news, I just felt horrible.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it occurred to me even way back then, 20 some years ago, that I need to stop watching the news, because I will watch, I used to even watch the weather. And now, thanks to the wonderfulness of technology, I've got a little widget on my phone that tells me what the weather is. I don't even have to go on the news to watch the weather. I can just pull it up on my phone when I get up.
Yep.
So I try not to watch the news. When this all first started here in Jersey, I did watch the governor's daily reports for about 2 weeks, because I thought maybe he would have something different to say. And after about 2 weeks, I realized generally it's a death toll, it's a sick toll. And, while I am very appreciative that he has, I don't know exactly when he started, but at some point he started, for lack of a better word, doing shout outs or recognitions to people who've lost their lives to this.
Yeah.
And while I think that has good intent behind it, what about the firefighters who lose their lives every day going into a fire to save a family? We don't make a big deal about that. So I'm a little conflicted with that. And the other thing is, yes, it's sad. Yes, you feel for the families who lose their loved ones. But, in my opinion, we know it's there. We don't need to see it every day.
I have a question for you as a medium.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes to something that I have channeled before, information that I have channeled before. We live in a culture and in a society that likes to remember tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
We want to have an anniversary for the death of a human being. We want to have an anniversary for 9/11. We want to have an anniversary, for this. Let's have a memorial for that. Let's put a memorial in the middle of the road so we remember when someone got hit by a car. Can I ask you, as a medium,
mm-hmm.
does spirit care?
No, absolutely not.
Thank you. I knew it.
I can't tell you, I live literally down the street from National Park Battlefield, which is very historic. There's lots of spirits around there. It's got some nice monuments, don't get me wrong. But you know what? At the end of the day, they could care less. They're doing their thing. They're doing their job on the other side. I think on some levels, they almost wish we wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Because they want us to live. They want us to be happy. They don't want us mourning all the time.
Exactly. Don't you think that this is kind of like an effort to keep us in a darker, a lower vibration, to keep remembering?
I don't know that it's an intentional effort, but it does feel very controlling. It does feel very, depressive. And I don't,
Exactly.
from what I understand, I don't know that other governors are taking it to the extent that our governor is with all the shout outs, but from what I understand, there are a lot of governors who are coming forth and saying, this is how many cases we have today. We don't need a daily case number. Mm-mm. Because at the end of the day, it actually numbs us to the reality of it. When you see those numbers all the time, oh, well, 800 more people have it today. After a while, it's like talking to your kids. After a while, they don't hear mom, After a while, we don't hear these numbers. We don't equate these numbers with real people. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and from what I've seen, like I said, I live down the street from the battlefield. Nobody really cares on the other side. They just want us to be happy. The few who are stuck, who can't cross over, they just want help crossing over. It's not like, memorials mean nothing on the other side, because the spirit world is actually just a dimension that's kind of enveloped on top of ours, and it's very thin at times, which is how we're able to communicate. But they just want us to be happy. They want us to live and move forward. They don't want us stuck in anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, that's just great. I'm so glad you talked about that. All right, let's talk about our mugs, because my little spiel, my little shtick is that we got to talk about mugs. So get your mug.
So here's my mug.
I
love colors, so.
All right, hold it up a little bit longer.
All right.
Describe it. Did you get it from
It's
somewhere?
just your basic ceramic mug with all kinds of colors around it. I have plates that match it. Because I love to surround myself with colors. When, like I mentioned earlier, when I decided to stop watching the news in my early 20s, I realized then how big of an impact colors have on you.
Mm.
Because I wore a lot of dark colors at that time. And when you wear a lot of dark colors, you get depressed. When you wear happy colors, when you surround yourself with the happy, brighter colors, you know,
Yeah.
even like this yellow is a bit dark, but it's got all these other colors going on around it. You know, you just need that cheerfulness to go. And a lot of people don't realize how much that psychology really gets into your head. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
you know, that's a lot of teenagers, and I will admit I was one of them many moons ago, dress in the goth and the
All
whole
in
black
black.
thing.
Me too.
Um,
Oh,
and,
absolutely.
and you know, it makes you depressed. And you've got
You
to,
know,
you know.
I dressed in gray and black today because of my mood this morning. Because I'm just like, I was just a little disturbed this morning. But listen, I mean, we're in this muck together. You know, we have to trudge through it, and I'm not going to beat myself up because I got sad this morning. It's important that we connect with our feelings and understand them, and not let them carry us off into some altered state,
Yes.
and that's
And along those lines, I'm going to give you a personal challenge, and anybody else who may be listening and may do this. You mentioned you put on the gray because you were kind of feeling it today. I challenge you, when you feel that gray, grab something red, blue, or bright color to help change you, because, you know, recognizing, it's good that you recognize why you went for it.
Yeah.
But recognizing you're going for that gray because you're in that mood says, I want to stay in this mood.
Yeah,
And we don't want to stay in this mood. You know, it's okay to be there for a minute, but you don't want to be there for 16 hours. Come on now.
you see, that's why I'm doing this show, because I'm learning, and if I'm learning, then so many other people are going to learn too. And
There you go.
that's the reason for this show. I'm so happy you brought that up. That's terrific. Thank you so much. Wow, it's been a lot of fun. Did you notice I have Metatron here?
Yes. And my girls are both special needs, so he is one of my favorite angels to work with because he works a lot with the special needs population.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yes.
isn't that amazing? Is there any final words? Are you getting messages to share? To what would you like to end this interview with?
Just real quick, I know some people are a little fearful of angels. Some people are afraid if they approach angels, that it means that they're not being respectful of God. Angels, first of all, don't belong to any one religion in particular. They're kind of, unilateral as far as the spirit world goes. And second of all, one of the great things about angels is if you screw them up and you call the guy behind you Raphael instead of Metatron, he's not going to get mad, and he's still going to help you.
Raphael behind me?
No, I'm saying if you called Metatron Raphael, like if you call them the wrong name, they don't get upset and they still help you. A lot of people get too wrapped up and too caught up in, I've got to get the name right, I've got to get this right, I've got to get this right. And you know what? Spirit doesn't care. Spirit world doesn't care. There's a lot of debate between Christianity and paganism and people of the Jewish persuasion and how many of our other hundreds of religions there are out there. And as a medium, I can tell you on the other side, it doesn't matter. It is all one. There's no denominations on the other side. It's all one. That's my message.
Well, this has been such a delight. This went really, really well. I'm so happy that you agreed to be interviewed, that you agreed to come to us.
I'm honored to be here, and I'm always honored whenever I do readings or do guest appearances like this, whether it be on video or radio. I'm always, some people may think it's a little phony, but it's not. When I do my work, I feel honored and privileged to be able to have these gifts and to share them with other people. So however I end up sharing them, I'm always honored to do it.
Well, thank you again, Margaret, and thank you to everyone who spent this time with us.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you received motivation to get up and go. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.